We'll start things off with an instrumental. See if anybody comes up here to the panel while this is going on. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Barbershop Talk. Yeah, I'll just pretty much go over what we did. As in my previous stream earlier, we went over the high road and how you shouldn't be taking it just because it's going to hurt someone's feelings. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hold up. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay, there we go. There we go. We live?
Yes, sir. We are live.
Oh, okay. All right, my bad.
No, you're good. No, you're good. We're live.
uh, what's going on?
Nothing much. Nothing much. Nothing much. But it was just something I felt that something seemed to need to be addressed. About people creating this narrative for saying you need to take the high road on certain things, and because it may hurt their feelings or expose people for what they really are. So I felt this needed to be addressed, and I guess I'll end up making a. I guess I end up having to make another one on it. Salute to you as well, Dr. McCoy. Peace to you.
Oh, hey Doc, what's going on? Who else is in here? Oh, what's up, Sir Obadiah? How's it going, man? Yeah, I'm sorry. I was in repairing some computer nonsense.
Gotcha.
So I guess my question is this, because I've been in training for the last week, so I haven't watched any streams on anything.
Gotcha.
Is there anything in particular that set this off, or was it just something that just came to your mind?
I think it was more something that came to my mind. I mean, there's been stuff that's gone on, but I haven't really just kept up with it, to be honest. But it was something that just kind of came to my mind because I know there's some stuff that's going on. What's good, Blaze?
Oh, hey, Blaze. What's up, Omega Dreads?
And Omega.
Yeah. Well, I was just asking because got to be honest, it does kind of sound like Manosphere stuff. So
yeah. Well, I mean, in general too. I mean, it's something that need to be addressed anyways, because I mean, you have these. What's good, Mr. Pump and Dump? You got these people in the church that pretty much have this same mindset that you're supposed to do with them as well.
Oh, absolutely.
You're supposed to excuse their fuckery for a term a better term I can't think of at the time. But we see here in this chapter, anyways, in this where Jesus begins calling out their bullshit and saying, that hey, what they're teaching you is correct, but you you can't. Ain't no need of paying attention to what they're doing, because what they're doing is the opposite of what they're teaching. So you can't use them as examples to go by.
Well, it goes back to something I said before about the three most powerful weapons that the Most High gave us, and they're abusing one of them, and that's the thing about forgiveness. You know what I mean? I mean, they're literally abusing it because when I can't remember which apostle it was, but when he asked Yahushua, or Jesus as everybody calls him, what do I do if my brother offends me? Or whatever it was, should I forgive him? He said, you should forgive him and forgive him 77 times more, something along those lines.
Right.
And they're abusing that privilege. That's exactly what that's exactly what that is. So, but as I try to explain to people, and we talked about this last week, all of us together, actually.
Yeah.
Just because I forgive you don't mean I have to deal with you.
Right.
So, once I forgive you, then I'll move on to the next thing. But that's what it is. And it's interesting because it's like a 50-50 situation, because the ones who are abusing the privilege definitely have their hands in it. But at the same time, the person who keeps forgiving them over and over again, it's part of their burden too, because they're allowing it to happen. Because at the end of the day, like the Most High himself said, he didn't put any of us here to be abused. That's I mean, it's not part of his nature. You know what I mean? So, so for us to be put here, and I think that's what people miss in the part about forgiving that Jesus talks about. Yeah, forgive your brother, absolutely. But he didn't say anything about continuing to be foolish enough to allow them to continue to hurt you, because that's just ridiculous.
Well, and to kind of cleaning up a point you were making about people missing it. There are a few that do miss it, but there are definitely more than enough. They don't miss it. They manipulate the point to do exactly what you were talking about. it's like I say all the time, people use this information in here as a weapon,
Right. Right.
uh, as a weapon to attack you emotionally. That way they can manipulate you.
That's my
That's the
fault
whole
because
point.
and you're absolutely right, and that's my fault because I didn't clarify well enough. When I say they missed the point, I'm not talking about the people who doing the abusing. I'm talking about the abusee, because the abusee should have enough wherewithal that after once, maybe even twice tops, that means you gotta let that person go. But they keep falling into the rhythm about I'm supposed to forgive, I'm supposed to forgive, I'm supposed to forgive. Forgiving does not mean being abused.
Yes.
So when I'm talking about them missing the point, I'm not talking about the abuser. I'm talking about the abusee. It's almost like getting Stockholm syndrome.
Yes.
Or
No, I know almost like it's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Stockholm syndrome, abused wife syndrome, whatever they're calling it nowadays. But you start buying into the propaganda that you deserve to be treated this way. And then you start accepting the person for who they are. And it goes back to something you said plenty of times on a lot of streams. And it's funny because you sound like my my cousin William when you say it. It's like what was the phrase you used? Oh, I just had it and I forgot it that quick. Oh geez, I just forgot it that quick. It was a good one too. I forgot it that quick. But it was something about being oh man, I can't believe I just forgot it that damn quick. But anyway, it'll come back to me. But it was definitely something you said a couple of times on streams, and it always made me laugh because I remember my cousin William saying it growing up. But as soon as it comes back to me, I'll say it. But again, it's that thing again at the end of the day that after a certain point, like I said, the first 1, 2, and like I said, I might even stretch it to 3 times that somebody does that to you. Anything after that is on you, not on the individual who did it, because you should know by now that that's unacceptable. I'm not being part of it, and walk away.
Right.
And leave it at that. And don't worry about what anybody thinks or feels about that, because my math is simple, and I'm sure you'll agree. Why would I care about the abuser when I walk away from them when they didn't care enough when I was there?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
I mean, you treat you try to be the better person. You try to take the high road, but again, the high road just means that you no longer accept taking that abuse. That's all that really means. They do it. You call them out for it. You tell them you forgive them, and then tell them you can't deal with it no more, and then you walk away. To me, that's my interpretation of that.
Yeah. See, to me, the high road is, hey, look, I'm gonna do fuck shit. Don't call me out on it.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's what the high road is.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, I'm not finna take the high road. I'm coming straight for your head. As Sigma Jones said in her last time, this channel is in your face pretty much. I'm not holding my tongue. For me to have my channel any other way would be it would be fake to who I am. So I can't do it. Shalom, Wagner. And
Shalom, Wagner.
And to the point that Sigma and Omega Dress were making, God's gonna forgive, but He never said how long. And then Sigma, even God has a limit on how much He will forgive for so long. And I want to make,
and we got examples of that too.
Yes,
that's true. I mean, we can start right out the gate with Adam and Eve, and we can move on to Sodom and Gomorrah.
Everything.
The list goes
on. Everything.
Even his patience is limited.
Yes, sure. And what I wanted to point out, yes, also greetings to you, checking for you. What I wanted to point out that the number one condition that He has for such forgiveness is time. It's the number one condition for everything. Time.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And what's up, checking for you? Time is definitely it. But again, it's just like how can I put it? Because I don't want to make it sound like anybody's better than anybody, because that's not the point. But I think with people like you, MOT, Sigma, Hulk, maybe even myself to some degree, because I think you guys are better at it than I am. But
Mm.
not some people haven't built themselves up spiritually or mentally
Mm.
to be able to do what you do. You understand what I'm saying?
I got you.
Because everybody's not equally yoked at this point. You know what I mean. So where it's easy for you to just put it out point blank in your face, yada yada yada. That's years of practice. That's years of you being born that way, enhancing it, building on it, etc. And you got some people who've just been beat down for 30, 40 years. They never found a voice. So it might take them longer to come to the conclusion that you and MOT and, Zero and, like I said, people like us
Yeah.
reach to be able to do that, matter of fact. Because even myself, I find myself doing it sometimes. Even after all this time. I mean, there are certain times when I'm talking to any of you and I kind of pull myself back a little bit. And it's not meant to be disrespectful in any capacity. It's just that I I'm not looking for favor, but I think what I'm looking for
Mm-hmm.
is being respectful.
Right.
To me, it's more important for you or whoever it is I'm talking to state your point of view, to state your opinion, to get whatever's on your chest off, than it is for me to override it just to prove I'm better,
Right.
I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but there's a give and take in a conversation, and sometimes you got to tap yourself down a little bit to give that other person space to express themselves. So that's why I was saying some people are more spiritually ready to be in your face like that, and
Yes.
just to drop it like it's hot. And there's other people who might have to go the other route that I was saying, where it's just like, you know what, I forgive you, but I can't deal with you. Turn around and walk away. It's easier for them to walk away than to confront. Because let's be real, human beings have problems with confrontation. We just do.
Yeah.
Well, most of us, put it
A
that way.
lot, dude. I mean, yeah, you really can't expect it to be natural for women, even though it seems like, of course, with colored women here in America, it seems to be pretty common. But that's because of the simple fact of the emasculation of the colored man.
Well, that's part of it. The other part is and you've said this in the very beginning as well. We're dealing with children, and
Yes.
we're dealing with spoiled children at that. So
Yeah, I agree, and
so that's their nature.
yeah, it is our nature, and that's one of the reasons why. Ah, it's gonna come off like I'm full of shit when I say it, but whenever because of how I understand how the poetry of the Bible and how everything is worded and it's shown, um, I really do see myself as better in a sense than women. Not
Well, no,
so much.
that's a given because we are,
Yeah, yeah. I
and
mean,
that's not a conceited thing. That's a
yes,
fact.
yes, yes, and I see it because of a standpoint of authority.
Right.
um, because of the simple fact no woman is going to have authority over me or on the same level as me. I don't give a damn if it's the Queen of England.
Well,
Now, if I'm over there, I'm gonna conduct myself in the way I'm supposed to, but I still will never see herself on the level as me,
well. See,
regardless
there's a,
of her.
and that's a good example you use with the Queen of England, because that's not a see, and that's where people get confused. You going over there and following protocol, that's being civil.
Right, right,
There's a
exactly.
difference between being civil and being subservient
Yes, I
or
agree.
or submissive. You know what I mean? And that's where they get a lot of it confused, and that's where they take advantage of us as men, because as men they think because we walk away, or they think because we won't say anything or get aggressive or call them out on it, it means we're being submissive to their will. It's not. It's just that for us, we have more important things to do. A, B, it's not that important. C, you're not that important. And D, you can say whatever you want, but whether it be scriptural or whether it be factual, we are superior to
Well,
you, and part of that, and part of being superior in that respect, we have a tendency to pick up a lot of the habits that the Most High and Jesus wants of us, to be merciful, and they
mhm.
confuse that mercy with weakness.
Yeah.
You see what
Um,
I'm saying?
I think
I'm not sure if I clarified that right, but
I got where you come from. I think I'm gonna clean it up just a little bit.
yeah, please, please.
What's missing? I got to shout out Ike to this. He said something earlier. Um, what it is that you have men who create chaos of a different source, which is aggressive and physical.
Right.
Women are mental and emotional criminals. That's how they attack you. That's
Well,
the
yeah.
type of fuckery they do. So I think the thing is that in the society, the men get so nerfed because, like Zero has pointed out before, betas create societies. So the male aggressiveness gets nerfed because for wanting to keep in-house pussy, and so they automatically don't think about the spiritual warfare, not spiritual, sorry, for the mental and emotional warfare that women put on men. It's not the type of warfare that men are used to from other men. So they automatically don't put in checks and balances to check the bullshit that women do. And
Well, it's a,
and
well,
I think
what,
that's the problem. But
well,
before I let you go, I'll just go say welcome to the panel signal.
oh,
Thanks for having me.
Dr. McCoy, what's good? What's good?
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom. But what I was going to say is it's two things. One's referencing what you just said, based on the information from Ike. The other one is about chaos.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with Ike now, and this is this. I'm not saying Ike is wrong. It's just I break it down a little different in my head.
Right.
I think alphas create societies, but they make
No, Zero said that. No, alphas don't. He's right.
No. Hold
Alphas.
on. I know.
Go
Hold on.
ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Let
Go
me,
ahead.
let
I'm
me
sorry.
finish. Alphas. I think alphas create society, but they make the betas build them. That's what I'm trying to say. Because alphas have a tendency to use anyone and everyone to shore up what they've taken, stolen, grabbed, etc., and so on, and use others to build it. So then, that's what I'm saying. I'm not what Ike is saying is not wrong. I just break it down differently in my head. That's all. As far as the chaos thing, as far as the chaos thing is concerned, the type of men you're talking about who create drama or issues and etc. and so on, I think that's the nature of the beast. Because I think where men are concerned, men are always in a position to create external chaos, where women are created for internal chaos.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
Yeah. And there was a thing. It was Zero that pointed out that betas build society. Well, the thing is, he is right because of this simple fact: alphas don't recruit them to do that. Alphas uphold tribes. The earn a bit shit.
Mm-hmm.
And a tribe and a society are two different things.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry.
A tribal mentality and a societal mentality are completely different.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
So
on
that's
that.
why
Absolutely.
he's right that alphas uphold tribal mentality, but it's betas that create the societies. Alphas aren't meant to be able to create a society whatsoever.
Okay.
They don't have a society mindset.
Okay. Now, being a rational man, listening to that, I would have to agree with that.
Yeah.
I would have to agree. Looking at it from that perspective, yeah, absolutely. I would have to agree with that. I can't challenge that.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of a video I did some time ago, a while back, where I talk about the ongoing battle between globalism and tribalism, and it actually highlights what Eisen and Zero is talking about. A lot of these so-called guys that want to hold on to this sense of tribalism, as far as like groupthink, staying amongst your own kind and everything. These are the type of guys where, if you compare them to the animal kingdom, they share similar mindsets of, so to speak, alphas. I won't say they're real alphas, but along those same lines, they kind of think like an alpha. In the fact that they want to keep resources amongst themselves. They're willing to fight and combat just to fight and combat for argument's sakes and everything. And essentially, they're only relevant amongst a herd. Whereas when you look at globalism, a lot of your technology, a lot of your innovations that are happening today, majority of it have come from men who, from an aesthetic standpoint, are not the type of guys that you would think women would truly think twice about, as far as if we're gonna have this alpha beta male talk. But in the grand scale of things, globalism is only possible because you have a group of men who did not meet the criteria of the so-called alpha criteria. So in order for them to make something of themselves, they have to create a society to where they pretty much dominate. So that's where Zero's argument that alphas don't create society, that's where I can say, yeah, he has a point on that.
No. And like I said, listening to what Eisen said, and definitely with what you just said, I get that now. I can see that perspective.
Yeah.
I can see it. And like I said, I don't disagree with it. I don't disagree at all.
Yeah.
What's interesting though, is here's what's interesting while you were saying that, Sigma. I was thinking while listening, in conjunction with the topic of taking the high road thing, etc., and so on. I find it interesting that while you were talking, my thought process went to betas will try to do the high road thing more than alphas will. Alphas will just say fuck it and walk away and go do something else.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or they'll get, or the alpha will get on their shit in your face and shame you for such things. So that's why, I was like, forget that high road shit. I'm not too much of the walk away type, unless certain situations where I see, of course, is one of the nigga Bibles that Zero talks about, the art of war. When you're met with an opposing force, you can't just go head on with that. You got two. You only got two options: either split that, find a way to split that force, or retreat, make a tactical retreat. So that's the only time. But yeah, for the most part, I'm going to get in their face. It's like when that whole educated lame term. That's a slap in the face. It is the equivalent of calling a dude a bitch ass nigga. No other way to look about it.
What, so educated lame?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I get that.
Just because the lame end is put on there, it is a slap in the face. It is meant to be a derogatory term. So my thing is, you have to come back. I'm gonna come back at them with a derogatory term too. I'm gonna talk bad to them, just to let them know, hey, look, you may think you alpha, whatever. Hey, come try me if you want, but I guarantee you, it's not gonna be pretty.
Well, the educated lame thing is I don't know, because like I said, I've been called that in my lifetime, and I guess it's how much weight you put into it. I guess because it's kind of like the conversation quite some time ago Zero and I had when I had to explain to him, those degrees, they're just toilet paper, man. At the end of the day, I mean, I mean, I'm not trying to take away from anybody, including myself, who went to school and studied and all that good stuff, and that's great. I mean, you use it as a tool for what you need to do. But there are men who take that education and they do come in and they try to take the stand that it makes them better than anybody else who didn't go to school or who didn't finish, or whatever you want to call it. And those are the types I would call lames, because you're defeating the purpose of the point of having it, if that makes sense.
Oh, that reminds me of that recent incident happened over on Game Changers channel. Some dude came on there. I guess he had a PhD in philosophy and all.
Oh, so he's like me. That's what I have mine in. Okay.
Well, I'll put it like this: when you
No,
talk
no, no. I'm not being funny. It's just generally the worst ones of the bunch are the ones who get PhDs in either theology or philosophy or divinity. And
well, here's
I'm not saying the other ones aren't bad, but those
Yeah.
are the three that I generally have the most problems with. And I'm saying that as somebody who has one.
well, this gentleman, whoever he was completely obnoxious. Like
Mm-hmm.
even I had to say in the chat, I was like, you know what? If
Oh,
the
that
next,
nigga.
I said, if this is the new intellects that's coming out of college, I definitely understand why a woman would want to deal with a bad boy. If this is the new intellect.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. When I first okay, when my dissertation was accepted and I got my PhD and all that good stuff and I passed the board, I'm not gonna lie, I started out that way my damn self. And it kind of makes sense. I think no matter what the PhD is in, you're gonna come out like that. This is gonna be a certain level of arrogance. The question is how long does it take you to get past that? I won't say it took me a long time, but it wasn't short either. So, like I said, I understand the mentality. I came out doing the same thing right out the gate. But here's the thing, especially if you study philosophy, the fact that you studied philosophy should tell you right out the gate that's not the way to go anyway. Because the whole point of philosophy is accepting things for what they are, how they are, who they are, whatever have you may. There's no arrogance to philosophy. There's just the understanding of life and motivations and etc. and so on. But the thing is that, like I said, I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it over and over. Just like I told Zero when he asked me, the degree is really at the end of the day toilet paper. The only reason for the only advantage the degree has is opening a door, and even with that, it can only open certain types of doors. Because if you're noticing nowadays, the vast majority of people really don't give a rat's ass. That's number one. Number two, you also have to take in consideration that in the full scheme of things, if you look at how they're teaching philosophy now, as opposed to how they taught it when I was there and how they taught it before even I was there, it keeps changing. You're getting a whole lot of people who are graduating from colleges in all due respect, not really learning what they got their degrees in. They really haven't. And you can tell because if you listen, like I don't know who you're talking about, but I promise you, if you take him, myself, and Zero, and you put all three of us on a panel to have a discussion, you will see the differences in training each one of us had in philosophy based on the time period we went.
Yeah.
I mean, it's blatantly obvious.
And
Yeah.
that's why I made a statement on GC's channel that a degree does not guarantee you have competency. Like
Exactly.
Yes.
you could be a PhD in whatever, and you still have the slave mindset of a servitude. So
Yeah.
having a degree does not guarantee you are competent.
I know my cousin William told me point blank because I graduated in 2003. All right. It was a long road for me to get there, but I graduated in 2003. So I remember my boy Lawrence and Gerald and Leon was like, yo, we need to put a graduation party together, successful party, yada yada yada. My cousin William looked dead face. I'm not doing shit for that nigga. And I'm sitting there and I looked at him and he told me, he said, the first time you come up in here and you start acting different to me, I'm gonna beat the shit out your ass. Because that piece of paper, again, don't mean shit. You know? And that's something people don't realize. And as a matter of fact, the biggest proponent of that nowadays are women. That's why the first thing they always throw in your face is, I got a degree, I'm educated, or whatever it is they say. And it's ridiculous because all the book smarts in the world doesn't mean shit if you ain't got common sense or street smarts. And that's what my cousin William used to drive into my head all the time. What's up, MOT? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
How
what's
you doing,
good, MOT? Welcome to the panel.
What's going on? I've been working on a live stream for this next weekend.
Okay.
You have to understand that they're weaponizing your own regret, not theirs.
Yes,
They already
absolutely.
passed.
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so what they do is they sow, like if you look at the 3-letter word guy, the actual PhDs who own, well, not own, but come to this space, they put themselves within Black culture into like a certain subsegment and pocket where everybody is okay with having a certain thing weaponized.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, you have one of them who's talking about Black women are at the table with these large corporations. And like, why do you think they chose that group of people and not Black men? Because they knew that you would never operate on behalf of Black men. You would only operate outside of your group, turning the actual focus of your group to other people's power and not your own.
That's correct.
So anybody who focuses on anything that's external to the power that they're working towards actually isn't working towards anything of substance. And they make sure that they're never on panels with competent people. They know how to get on panels with competent people that works towards something.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have this fraudulent motherfucker talking about he cares about Black boy outcomes, but never has he said don't pump kids into these fucking domestic women, and you won't have Black boys having Black outcomes that are bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But that takes 15 to 20 years to see, because all these decision-making processes that we're seeing right now originated from 2000 to 2005.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the actual success that they want to see is 15 or 20 years out into the future. You see, this is why you have a culture. Culture detects outcome. There was a reason why they stopped the Reconstruction. They seen the shit that the Black church was fucking doing, and they was like, if these people have all the fucking skills, and we don't, this shit's been going on for what, 20 plus years? If this shit go on for another 40, these motherfuckers will be running this goddamn country.
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
Yeah, and so it's like right now, the enemy is far more us than it is anything outside of us. Exactly. You're seeing it in this space. You're seeing it in this space how people are trying to put on conventions. We're talking about failed men here.
Yep.
You don't see me trying to organize no fucking convention. I think the space is fucking finished. And I think most of these people are running toward their prospective exits once COVID hit. COVID showed you what your end goal and exit was. And none of them was to be productive. A lot of these people just wanted to be accepted at a higher level than when they were born at. You know, this sexual cat is a very good indication of where people actually want to end up at.
Well, it's the classic situation of wanting to exceed your station in life.
Yeah.
I mean that's really what it comes down to. But the problem is they want to exceed the station in their life without putting the work in to do it.
Correct.
That's why I think, and I could be wrong, and if I am, feel free to correct me. I think that's why I think people like myself and UMOT are unique. I won't say original, but somewhat unique, because I think you do what I do, and again, if I'm wrong, correct me. You look at it. When you're looking at it, you're looking at it from two different points of view, trying to make it meld together. And I'm assuming one is from a military perspective and the other one's from a business perspective, because that's what I do.
Correct.
And try to get them to mesh together. So I think, and it's interesting because I was intelligence and you were police, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
In the military. Okay. So we're definitely looking at it from more than a standard grunt perspective. So, especially from a strategic point of view. But when we have people in this space, like who you're talking about, which is why I said months ago myself that this space was finished. And to me it is. I don't agree with Manosphere 2.0 or 3.0 or anything like that, because I think this is coming down to the point of having to build something totally different and separate than Manosphere, and walking away from that, from being associated with that distinction, because what we've seen in the last year with COVID and the mass influx of women the mass influx of fuckboys, the mass influx of pickup artists, niggas, whatever we're calling them nowadays. This place is overrun, in my opinion. So I don't see the point. I don't see the point of it anymore, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Correct. And the only thing we have been doing between the point O's is trying to recapture the original point of the space when it was the people who destroyed the original point, not the space. So,
and like the saying goes, you can't go back.
No,
I mean, the genie's out of the bottle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, so you go from Catholicism to Protestantism to liberal Christianity. Like, this is how far. Like, every time there's a reiteration of original words and text, it loses its definition and it gets watered down as it goes along.
Yeah.
Right.
As a matter of fact, checking for you just summed it up perfectly. He said there's no point in reasoning with uncultured, uncouth, and crass-driven mentality. And he's not wrong.
And honestly, I'm viewing it from the side of a content creator. This is one of the reasons why, if you're a black male content creator and your point of interest has little to do with the circle jerk conversations, you have to diversify your audience. Like, you have to reach out to others who don't come from that uncultured, uncouth, and crash-driven mentality. And to me, that's the only way you could even be successful as a black male content creator. Because unless you want to go down that circle jerk rabbit hole of talking about the same subjects over and over and over, you're not going to really gain anything trying to be a content creator, at least in my opinion.
That's the point of what I was saying about myself at MOT, looking at it partially from a business perspective. One of the first things we learn after we get our businesses started, we can't live off only that. We have to diversify. We have to go into things. And it makes no difference. Like MOT does, he drives a truck, right? But he drives a truck and he also has parking garages for trucks. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he bleeds into other things. You have to diversify it. You never put everything in one basket. And that's the mentality we have to take to this space. That's why I was saying, even though it's taken me longer than I planned to, I'd rather take more time necessary to get my channel straight, to make sure it's diversified on a variety of things, than to go in and pick up on the same conversation that 6 other channels are doing. There's no point to that.
I was last night after my show with the War Room, I was looking at my analytics, and more I'm starting to garner some audience from Europe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's partially my fault.
No, that's good. And to me, that's a good thing, because again, like you just put it out, you got MOT that's showing the trucking side and the garage and whatnot. And to me, I feel more comfortable listening more to that type of content from him than, everything that goes on as far as like black this or black that, which, don't get me wrong, there's always time to have those discussions. But for me, a self-proclaimed nerd and everything, whenever MOT does his trucking type of streams and all, I actually tuned in greatly for that. And so, like last night, just looking at the analytics, and I'm seeing the numbers increasing outside of America as far as like Europe and everything. It's like, this is the pathway of trying to build your audience as a black male content creator. You have to diversify if you want to, reach out to other folks.
Right. And as an audience, I would suggest that even if they're listening to a channel and they change us, they do a show on a different topic, listen to it anyway. Because like myself, I have absolutely no interest in driving a truck. I just don't. But I still listen to MOT because as somebody who used to work in logistics, I can understand a lot of what he's saying. But more importantly, if nothing else, I know what he's teaching at that particular moment is the most current information and data that I need if anything goes wrong and I have to rely on it. You see what I'm saying? And that's one of the problems as black men, we have this thing where we get locked into, we only want to focus on one thing and nothing else matters. You don't know. You need to be a well-rounded person. You need to know a little bit of something about everything, and for no other reason, not to get played. But more importantly, if you want to be a business person, you should understand how each division in whatever corporation or company, whether you own it or you're working in it, you should know how it works. You should know, if you own it, you should know it, so nobody takes advantage of you. And if you're working for a company, you become a more valued, productive employee because you have a wide berth of understanding ins and outs of the company. Like I told people before, when I used to interview and people used to ask me, so what do you see yourself getting out of this company? And my response was always, I want your position. And they would look at me like, excuse me? I said, because if I come in here and I do what I'm supposed to do properly, I elevate you. And by elevating you, I get your spot. That's how it's done. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't trying to be a smart ass. It's just making it understood. I'm letting him know I know how this system works. My job is to get the job done. That's my primary. My secondary is to make you look good. Now, however you want to play that is on you. But I know if I do what I'm supposed to, you get moved from manager to director. You get to director, you're going to remember me. I get that manager spot. And then when I get the manager spot, I repeat the fucking process. You go from director to a junior VP. And then I get that. And we keep playing that game. And before you know it, 10, 15, 20 years, we both running that motherfucker like we own it.
Right.
And this is the problem. A lot of black men are not paying attention to, or I don't know, not even paying attention. They're not being taught. I think that's more accurate. They're not being taught. Some of them do figure it out eventually on their own, but they're not being taught. That was one of the things we all got taught when I was younger. If you're going to be an employee, that's how you move. Okay, now it might be different now because it's a different world, but I still think the general principles still apply.
Well, it's something you mentioned, Lawrence. Like, I've seen some guys talk about entry level positions and how, you can make good money staying in these entry level positions and everything and whatnot. My thing is, the entry level positions are only there to get your foot in the door. It's
Correct.
not there to be a means of, hey, I got a job, I'm good where I'm at, I'm just going to settle as far as with this position. No, your goal should be within 6 months to a year after working that position, you should already be focusing on, okay, what's the next step to go? What's the next position? And especially if you're very good at your job, you should be forced to start looking for an upper position moving up. Because staying at that entry level, you're defeating the purpose of getting your foot in the door to move up in the first place.
Well, that's because they forget. Entry level is just a fancy way of saying internship. Whether it's paid or unpaid is irrelevant. But entry level is the exact same thing as an internship. And the only point of those positions has nothing to do with getting paid. It has about getting experience. That's what those two positions are for. And you use that sucker. You burn, even if you're only getting $5 an hour, you have to ask yourself, okay, I might only be getting $5 an hour right now, and I'm running back and forth getting people sandwiches and coffee. But understand something: you're sitting in that room, and you're listening to how they do things. You're learning how they run the system, and you're getting experience, and you're getting free knowledge that it probably in a college probably couldn't even be done nowadays. Okay, and then you take that experience and you do one of three things. You use it to advance yourself in that company. You use that knowledge to go to another company who's gonna get you that next step, which is to be a full-on employee, get paid properly, or you create your own business. And that's what I'm saying. Nobody's teaching that anymore. Nobody's teaching how to use the system anymore, how to work it. Because like I said, that's what I used to get when I was younger. All that was explained to me. Yeah. But when I try to have that conversation with people nowadays who are younger than me, they looking at me like I've lost my mind. It's like an argument I got into with one kid where running my company, work for me, and he's like, well, while we're in there, yada yada yada. If I ask you a question, Lawrence, I was like, see, that's the first mistake. I'm never going to call my boss by his first name. That's just me.
Yeah.
There's this thing nowadays that when you work in a company, you think you own that motherfucker. You don't. You think you can get to walk in there and call your boss or anybody else by their first name. It breeds a level of familiarity that's not good for a company because people don't know their barriers, their spaces in between.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the first mistakes they made by telling everybody they're an associate, and second of all, telling everybody to call them by first names. That's not how that works. I'm sorry, MOT. Did I cut you off?
No, it's just like this is how I learned everything from what I do now. I mean, there was like, well, you're a dependable guy, so what do you need from you? I'm like, I just need the actual conference calls recorded of what happens within the office whenever things go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Or to be in there to where I can record them myself. So it's like, you're driving across the country. They're going to need you to repower the load. They're going to need you to park your truck on Penske. They're going to need you to catch a flight from this place over here to go recover a truck and a trailer that just got whatever.
Yep.
I want to know how that process worked and how did it come to that. And that's when you learn how the business actually works.
Exactly.
Because you're working with insurance companies and everything else. Now, none of this shit can be taught. Anybody can drive. Anybody can manage drivers. Anybody can be a safety person just pointing out and holding classes about bullshit. But no one could teach this level of the industry because this is where the real industry was behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Had nothing to do with driving. Had everything to do with the real logistics is when shit go wrong.
Yeah, the logistics, the freight forwarding, the cost.
Yeah.
I mean, you get down into the weeds of it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like in the weeds, and you start seeing what's what for what it is. And like I said, that's something I think is missing big time. Because like I said, I might be a little off with my choice of wording, but I don't think I'm wrong on this. That's something young men used to. What's up, Yuri? What's going on?
What's good, Yuri?
And I'm sorry. What's up, Black Curls? I meant to say what's up earlier. That's something that's not taught anymore. And I dare say, and I could be reaching, but I think Gen X was probably the last generation who got taught any of that. Everybody after that, it went to that informal nonsense with calling people by their first names and, you know, you're an associate, so this is your company too. No, it's just like a conversation I had with some gentlemen, and they had their women around or whatever, and we were talking about the pandemic and everything that's going on, and I was like, it's a good day for me. And they're like, how do you figure? I said, because Zoom is the way to go. And they're like, I don't understand. I said, because now you get to get everybody on camera and you get to record the meeting. It protects you from female nonsense, Me Too hashtags, and all that other stuff. Because nobody's in the room now. You can't, you know what I'm saying? And I believe there were a couple of women who were big on Me Too who got upset about that. Because they know they can't ply their trade, if you understand what I'm saying, when you're at home. And you definitely can't do it on a camera when it's being recorded, and B, there's a group of people present. So this is an opportunity for men to get their shit straight and to start making stuff happen. It's just like me, you know, I got clients. I don't like dealing with women. I just don't. But I do know some of my clients still have female employees. So until I figure out how to get around that, I still have to deal with them to some degree. And like I said, you know, well, you can come in the office for a meeting. Why would I do that? I got Zoom. Let's do this. I mean, technology has offered us ways to be far more productive, far faster, and to make hell a lot of money than we ever could before. And it also provides us protection for that money not to be taken or stolen or base lies or innuendos about things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. True. And to Chick's point, yeah, people have been conditioned to want in a hasty manner, meaning, they got that JG Wentworth going on. They want it now.
Yeah. Oh, you get that commercial too?
Yeah.
It's my money and I want it now.
But, a lot of things don't happen like that. They want the change of circumstances without, as MOT has pointed out several times before in his different streams, that they want the change of circumstances without having to go through the process of changing themselves and changing other things. Their way of circumstances can actually change, and they can actually appreciate those changing circumstances.
Well,
once it's handed over with the actual monkey branch and shit, like they're just gonna stay over here until it gets fixed, and then they're gonna monkey branch over to the change side, and it don't work that way.
Yeah. Right, and not to go all Star Trek, but let's look at it like this: the four of us are sitting here on this panel, right?
Right.
Each one of us have our own starship, right?
Gotcha.
So let's say MOT has his starship. He's the captain. Nagon would be his first officer. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I have my starship. I got my first officer, etc., and so on. Here's the thing that I've noticed: you have everybody in this space, and I'm talking about men when I'm talking about everybody, who call for leaders, who talk about people to show them the way, who talk about having solid brothers with information, yada 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 yada, and yet here we are, each of us with our starship, capable of doing that and being that, but nobody shows up. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you look at the stuff that MOT himself puts out, just him, twice a week, right? Mm-hmm. Twice a week. I'm telling you that information is worth millions of dollars. And I'm not saying that to blow him up. I'm not trying to exaggerate it or nothing. That's straight up college level $1 million course information. And yet he gets 2,000 views. But if you go over to one of them other people, they've got 100,000 views. I mean, if about nothing. Yeah. And that's the problem. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, the information that MOT has over there too, it can be applied to all levels.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of things. It's something that goes over a lot of people's heads. It can be applied to all levels. Yeah. So you got people that because of the type of information he puts out, that they don't think that it can apply to them because they don't have the type of forward thinking or mind to be able to see how it applies across the board.
And that's the failure of them being taught critical analysis. Because no matter what type of business it is, if someone's giving you information, you'll find out that regardless of what the industry is, the basic underlying principles are the same and can be applied in life, not just business. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like you said, with MOT, it could be applied with a lot of things across the board. The only difference that I can see, using myself and him as an example, mine might lead a bit more towards maybe how to get your financial house in order. Because I work more in investment banking and mergers and acquisitions. But even regardless of that, what I said earlier still stands. The basic foundation of running and owning a company, the basic principles are generally the same, regardless of the industry you're working in.
Yeah. And I think too, you point out they haven't been taught. Look, I ain't tell we're gonna take the high road. Let's be real. Most of these folks don't want to know or learn.
Well, that goes back to MOT.
Information.
Well, that goes back to MOT, and that's why I said they're men. They're women with dicks, because the men are literally using the same tactics women are, and just like MOT said, monkey branching. Yeah. That's all they're looking for.
But the one thing I can say about MOT's channel is, my God, it's amazing. For the content that he has to have 20,000 subscribers, it's it's unexpected.
It should be more than that.
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. It should be more, but considering that it's in a what do you want to say? It's what they consider a black male space or whatever you want to say. Considering that alone, for it to have 20,000 it's an achievement.
Oh, it absolutely. Oh no, it absolutely is. There's no question to that. I mean, you and I have been with other content creators who themselves have said they'll do something on business and they'll get 500 views, but as soon as they do something on women, they get 5,000 views. So they stick with talking about women. So I get that. So yeah, absolutely. MOT having what he has is a serious accomplishment.
Yeah,
and it's not to be ignored or diminished.
Yeah, or they have to use a conversation on bras to reel them in,
to open the door. Yeah, like let me show you how you can get the bags so you can get the women, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Whereas with MOT, it's very different. He doesn't do that. He doesn't have them on the panels like that.
No,
but he still gets. I mean, to have those 20,000 subscribers is, it's like I said, it's an achievement. It's a great achievement. So.
And 23,000 as of this morning.
Oh wow!
Nice, nice. And here's the thing. It's he's not alone. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about and I've said this before, and if you don't mind, I'd like to repeat it.
Go ahead.
The men have to understand the amount of knowledge and years of experience, practical application, wealth, success, whatever you want to call it. Look, man, you got MOT, you got Mike V, you got Nagone, you got Complex Design, and the list goes on and on. To be here in this space this long and not apply any of that doesn't say anything about the content creator. It says everything about you. Because and that goes back to a conversation you and I have had privately, MOT, where I had said, well, it might have been you, it might have been me, I can't remember which one of us said it. When the time comes, don't roll up on my house and talking about you weren't told, because everything is here for you. You can just link in at any time you want to. If you can't make the original, watch the replay. If you can't watch the replay, sign up for the Patreon. The Patreon is $5 a month. If you can't afford $5 a month to become a millionaire, then you were never going to make it anyway. I mean, and I'm not trying to be a dick about that. I'm just saying, I mean, if you're like my cousin William always said, help me help you. You feel me? Help me help you. You've got to want it more than I do. Okay, and again, this goes back to me and you, Eisen, when you had to break that down for me a couple of times, because I want brothers to be successful. I want the brothers in this space that I've gotten to know to make it. I do. But again, as you had to explain to me, that's got to be on them. They have to make that choice. They got to want it more.
Right.
I can only supply the information. What you do with it after that, well, but when everybody else does what they're supposed to and it starts working, you can't come back later saying, yo, man, remember? No, I don't.
Right.
Because like the saying goes, if you weren't there for my struggles, don't expect to be part of the success.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And that's real shit. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me on that.
Oh, no.
Well, the only people who disagree are the people who want to benefit.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to try to leverage the attention that they didn't give you as actual currency in the future that they can cash in on. And that's what's happening right now. What you have all these plantation bucks out here trying to get you to still compete domestically when you could easily go internationally and find happiness.
Yeah. Eisen, Yuri's asking for the link.
Oh, okay. My bad. I was doing something.
No, it's cool.
Appreciate
I don't know if you want to email it to him or just drop it.
I'll try to email it.
Okay. Yuri, if you're listening, he's gonna try and email it to you. But yeah, MOT, you're absolutely right. And those are the only people who are only going to be the only people who ever disagree on it. But again, that goes back to what you said many a times. These are unproductive people, and like I said, the men have taken on way too many female characteristics. And that is a female characteristic. Like you said earlier, it's called monkey branching. That's a female thing. That's not a male thing. At least it's not supposed to be. But that's what they do now.
Yeah. Well, you got to think the societal structure now is set up in a female way. It's set up to have Um,
I'm sorry, Eisen, real quick. You don't have Yuri's email?
no, I don't think it's okay. He said I can drop it in Facebook. I do have that.
Oh, okay, all right.
But yeah, a society is set up around for it to work for to work on feminine shit. So that's the point where we're at now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay,
Okay.
let me get that going here.
Okay. Because I have it somewhere. I was trying to find it.
That's cool.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that, Yuri. I know I got your email. I just don't know where it's at right now. I would have sent it to you. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's the current situation, society wise, and again, that's why I think the diversification of channels and diversification on each individual channel is that important, because like Sigma, for instance, with covering the history of World War II and all that, you study that and you see how things played out. You can get a general, well, actually more than general idea of how some of this works, and how some of what happened then has become the foundation of what's going on now. Like the saying goes, if you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going.
Right.
So that's important, you know. And the same thing when it's time to relax. You got gaming channels, comic channels. You got Aegon's Frat House, whatever, you know what I mean. He should make the channel that Aegon's Frat House. But anyway, but yeah, it's, you know, and that's yeah. I don't know what else to say. I do know that taking the high road thing just doesn't work in these type of situations. That's definitely calling them out, tearing it down, flipping the tables, you know, and moving from there. I'm sorry, Sigma, you unmuted. Did you want to say something?
Oh no, just listening through, just catching up. I had to go get an ice pack for my shoulder real quick.
Oh, okay.
Are you good?
Oh, Kendo been wearing him out.
Yeah.
You've been doing Kendo.
Yeah, a little bit of Kendo and Taiko, especially now that I've been made a sensei, so my training has increased.
Well, okay. Well, it's been a long time for me, but, you know, not just to play on the frame. I'm going to have to catch a flight.
Well, I'll put it like this. I am more than happy to meet you, Lawrence, but these other Negroes, I may have to pull. I will do a zero and pull Thanos on them if they want to catch a flight.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long time, but I know I used to teach my little cousin Al, and I still have all my practice equipment. I just it's been so long, I haven't had anybody who even practiced it, much less knew what it was. You know? So to hear you say that, I got kind of giddy.
Yeah.
Believe me, especially later on this year, hopefully once Japan opens back up, I'm actually going to be doing some more videos on Kendo, as far as on the Black Roman side. So it's definitely coming down the pipe.
Yeah, that's great.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. I haven't been in the martial arts for a while, but Kendo was definitely one of those that I actually did want to learn. It was awesome.
Yeah. It's like I said, I haven't had anybody. As a matter of fact, I'm out of practice. I mean, I've been keeping myself healthy, and, you know, I've been doing, you know, the gym and all that good stuff. But as far as it goes for hand to hand and all, I haven't done it in a long time. And I've been because I know in New York, before I left to come down here, I had started studying Krav Maga, and I found an instructor around here, so I'm thinking about signing back up and getting back into that.
Yeah, right now, as far as hand to hand, I've mainly just been doing like the boxing gym, just some basic hand to hand movements and all. Later on, I'll probably be looking at doing Aikido or maybe even jujitsu. Kind
Oh,
of
okay.
learn a little bit more of that. But yeah, right now mainly just been focusing on the Kendo side.
Yeah, Aikido's cool. My uncle Alfonso is well, at least the last time I talked to him, he had made it to fifth dan.
Ooh, nice.
So yeah, and he had opened up a school.
Oh,
He had opened up a school in Brooklyn. But I had, like I said, I haven't talked to my family in over 10 years, so I don't even know what level he's at now.
Yeah, there was a guy we interviewed not too long ago, Chuck Johnson. He actually has his own YouTube channel here on YouTube. Guy is phenomenal. Has his own martial arts dojo in Tokyo. Even has his own choreography group where they do movie stunts and everything. The interview is still posted on my channel, but yeah, he's a great guy. We got a chance to really link up with him.
awesome.
I'd like to, as soon as I'm done, at the end of this month, I want to reach out to you about the stunt stuff, because I was thinking about I can't remember what they called it, but the stunt class, when they teach you how to use stunt coordination for swordsmanship and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it exactly, but yeah, I wanted to take that up too.
Okay, nice.
Because like I said, I am almost free. All my time will be mine, and I got plans. I got plans, baby. I got plans. Woo! What's up, Yuri?
Yeah,
Yeah, what's going on, Yuri?
It was good.
yeah. What's up? Yeah, like I was just sitting in the back, and I was hearing what you all were saying about MOT, and I had to co-sign it with everything that y'all be saying, but I'm gonna say something about the other folks. Some of these people will find any excuse in the book to stay where they are. So,
Yeah.
MOT could give this stuff away for free, which he already does. And they'll still come up with a reason to stay where they are. So it's like,
Well, that's why.
yeah,
Well, that's why I said earlier, what he's done already is worth thousands, if not millions of dollars, for real, for real.
100%.
I mean, I'm not just throwing those numbers out for the sake of throwing out those numbers. You know what I'm saying? I've worked in logistics for 20 plus years. I know the cost of those. I mean, I might be outdated, sure, but it couldn't have done anything but be higher than what it was back then.
Yeah,
Sure. 100%. 100%. Yeah, and it just is the way it is. Like, and I said this the last time I was on. To have people like you, bro, MOT, Eisen, like-minded people, like everybody in this space that's here for the sake of being here. I mean, Wacky, everybody, Nagone, shoot, Dollar Will. I got to put him, like,
let's I'm sorry, just real quick. Let's throw out two other people who are low key. People don't really pay attention to: Morning Blue and Judgezilla.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Morning Crew,
Yeah.
Judgezilla, checking for you. I mean, yeah, everybody.
Yeah, checking for you too. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Sure enough, checking for you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, all these guys, to have these guys here and to know that you have an army of productive people, that have your back and want you to be successful. I mean, growing up, when I grew up, I couldn't count 5 people that were like that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So it that's why I'm so thankful for a space like this.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so thankful for a place like this.
Yeah. Let me tell you what they're worried about in this space. let me tell you what they really worried about in this space. What they're worried about is everybody that we just named and we talked about waking up one morning and saying, fuck it, and taking everything we got, compiling it together and creating a corporation and a space in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're afraid of. The one thing they don't want from us is
Working on it. Working on it.
Yeah. We both are. I know. Yeah.
I was going to say,
me too.
There's definitely some things happening on the background. So,
exactly, and that's and that right there is what they're afraid of, because unity, cooperation, and productivity, and they know that once we come to a point where we've all achieved the level we want to go for, they know that's our next step. They know it. Yeah. Whether we say it out loud or not, they know it, because this is the nature of things. Like is attracted to like. Blood calls to blood. Yeah. So they know this is going to happen. It might, even if it's not all of us, they know it's going to be some of us. They know this.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing in acknowledging that. That's when you know we have power. Mm-hmm. The fact that they sit around being paranoid and terrified of that, that's when you know we have the power, not them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I still go to the fact, to me, that I still feel like even though they don't want to admit it, we're the majority. A lot of times they want to use some kind of deflectionism or whatever. But to be honest, what we're talking about is the majority, and technically it's what the majority need, because there's no way to attach what they're talking about and have a productivity analysis or a financial analysis towards anything that they're talking. There's no burden of proof. The only thing that you can put a burden of proof on and basically have it stand up is the stuff that we're talking about, and that fucking drives them nuts. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, that's why they go after us so much, because we're the only thing that we can prove what we're doing. We're the only people in this space that can actually put together something that actually has a burden of proof. It's like these fucking dating coaches. You don't need no qualifications to be a dating coach. Shout out to MOT in terms of what he said. I mean, I've been saying that before I even knew MOT, but he brought it up and surmised it in a certain way. You know, it's the same thing. All these people that don't have no track records, that don't do too much, they out here kind of saying what they're saying because it sounds cool. Mm-hmm. That's cool. I mean, I get it. But at the same time, we're the only ones that can actually have our shit stand up for what it is.
Well, that's why I took
that.
That's why
neither do any of us. Sorry, fellas. I was on my high horse.
No. Keep going. That's my fault. That's my fault. I thought you were done. I started to talk over you. Go ahead. Are you there? Yeah.
No, I think he's done now.
Oh, okay. No, all I was going to say is that's why I took a page from MOT's book, where it stands right now with dating coaches, pickup artists, and anybody who co-signs for them. I have no sympathy for you. You should know by now. I mean, for real.
Yeah.
I have no sympathy for you. You get taken for your money and you get no results. Yeah, well, you seen it, so you signed up for it anyway. I got no sorrow for you.
Yeah,
pretty much my rhetoric for all these data coaches and everything is like, okay, prove your concept across the globe. Go to these other countries, and not just, any country. Go to these other top tier countries that supposedly are not like America, and see if your concept works there. Which we all know for a fact it doesn't work overseas, because the whole thing of game and PUA, that's an American concept. It's not something that's even global.
Yeah, correct. It's not. I mean, Don't get me wrong. You do have some aspect of it, but the way they use it, yeah, it's completely different. Um, the thing is, it's all about cultured and like-minded people um, coming together, and on a common ground. There, where here, it's more about illusions, and I think the thing is that for me, um, to the point that Yuri was bringing up about men trying to be on their purpose and gaining traction in that. That's what I'm focused on. So all that the dating coach crap and PUA stuff, it doesn't even matter to me. I'm more focused on the next chapter, in my life and changing, as far as career paths there. Where I've gotten to, it's been good. It's helped me set up to where I need to go further, but to where I'm hoping to, where I'm trying to go further. But it's been good and grooming me for that, and I'm just trying to make that next path. I've said it before. I'm a blue collar type of guy, but I'm trying to make some adjustments to where I can be in a more profitable blue collar setting, and then change that and learn some white collar information from you guys here as well. So I'm just trying to make those changes and focus on that. That way I can, after that, I can focus on doing things that I actually enjoy with my life.
Yeah, and make no mistake, everybody here who you think is white collar started out blue.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm not worried about that at all.
Make no mistake on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody came up in here with no silver spoon.
Right. And that's the thing too. I mean, even when people look at it, MOT, him being as successful as he is, I mean, he's got a blue collar uh job. But the thing is, he had to learn the white collar aspects because of the simple fact that he shifted into a business a company that he owns. So and that's something that I'm looking to do in the future as well.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. Exactly, Blaze. Keeping a foot in both worlds.
exactly. Yep, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Because like I said, they couldn't understand, man. When I was in corporate, they couldn't grasp the concept of why I treated the janitors and the trash people. You know what I'm saying? Nice.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, first of all, they're human beings. Why not? Second of all, man, they ain't doing nothing I didn't have to do. So what's the deal?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the deal? I mean, I used to work warehouse, man. That was, like I said, at 14. That was hard work. That was my first job I ever had, man.
Yeah. And
Pallet jacks, forklifts, sweeping, cleaning bathrooms. Yo, man, don't knock somebody, for what hustle they have. Be happy they got a hustle. You feel what I'm saying? So
yeah. And that's the thing too. I mean, all of these, I mean, the jobs that we just mentioned, that you just mentioned, they're all important to society. They help keep it going. And a lot of these people, a lot of people, you can tell here in this space, so-called people that think they're better, a lot of them look down and trash these people, and they're good employees that are productive, and that some of these people cul-de-sac niggas.
cul-de-sac zero.
And a lot of these people, they can there's information that we have here that can be helped to enrich their lives as well. I do understand that some people, hey, they're only going to go so far. But I mean, if they're productive, they're not out here being a tyrant to society. Man, I'm not finna down them people because they're doing trash or whatever. I mean, a lot of them garbage people make good money.
It's something because my first ever job as a teenager, as far as like actually being paid to do work, I was actually a horse groomer.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
it was no easy job. My dad
No,
would
it's
take
not.
me, my dad would take me to this ranch. It was a black guy who owned a lot of horses, and he was like, "Hey, starting on the weekends, this will be your first job," and just learning the difference of how to clean up around horses, how to deal with different personalities of these horses and everything. It taught me to appreciate the small jobs like being a janitor or a cleanup guy and everything. Stuff like that you just can't take for granted.
It's funny you say that because I was looking at a question checking for you just asked. He said,
Yeah.
how do you deprogram a limited mindset? And you hit on it partially right there, where you said you got to learn different people, different personalities, different mentalities. I think one of the biggest problems, not the only one, but I think one of the biggest ones is that the average quote unquote nigga nowadays has not stepped out of the space he's in.
Hmm.
Yes.
He doesn't understand anything except the mentality of his neighborhood. You understand what I'm saying? He doesn't even take the time to go to the next city just to meet people or try something different. It's like all he knows is the hood, and that's the only knowledge he has.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so 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 I, so so I think the first thing is getting them out of there.
Well,
Uh,
I was gonna say the first thing was that they, well, I put in the chat that they have to have to have a want to learn more in general, anyways.
oh, absolutely,
And
absolutely.
then that's where the second part comes in of wanting to be exposed to different environments.
Yeah, because and I think checking for you said it earlier too. It was either him or Blaze, one or the other. But that desire to want it as opposed to just being content with where you at and what you have.
Yeah, yeah,
I think one of the biggest things here, um, again with this panel, everybody we called out, everybody in the chat. I think the biggest thing is that we're not just talking about wanting something different. We're actually we're strategically thinking on how to do it and
yeah,
tactically implementing it.
yeah. And to the point he made, I'm under the impression that all of us here are trying to crack the code of limitation.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir. Yes,
yeah.
sir.
I'd have to agree with that. And also, what you were talking about being people being content. There's two types of content. There's a healthy content with so to speak, with I mean, if you like minimal things, you're not trying to outlive your actual means. And
Right.
then there's a contentment that leads to stagnation. It's unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it's critical to understand and differentiate the two.
Yeah.
To me, to kind of summarize that, I think the one content that's good is the content that you've accomplished everything you wanted to accomplish within
Yeah,
yourself. Therefore, you have no need to go out and try to prove yourself to others.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
good content you want. Whereas the bad content is you know you could do better, but you just don't want to.
There you go.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
better way of putting it. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
I
There you
agree completely.
lack of motivation.
Hmm.
Yes.
I mean, literally, lack of motivation.
Yeah.
And then that's when you start bleeding into that mentality of wanting it handed to you,
Yes. Yes.
instead of working for
I agree.
it. You know what I mean? so so yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Um, and again, and that's why I keep saying, this this ain't about this ain't about women anymore. This is about us.
Yes.
This is about men. This is about what we got to do for ourselves, and with any luck, helping other brothers who are like minded.
Yes.
And yes, Blaze, you're correct. But complacency is the enemy.
Yes.
That's the point I was trying to make about only being in your neighborhood and never stepping out of it.
Right.
You got
Exactly.
got complacent with it. You're comfortable in it, and you figured, okay, this is all I need. But yet you still inside wanting more, and you
Yeah.
can't understand why you want more, and you don't do
Well,
anything about it.
I think a lot of times too with that complacency, because you're never stepping outside that environment you're used to, you actually don't even know you want more
Oh
because you
yeah,
haven't been exposed to anything to even know exactly what it is you like or could like or want to know more of.
yeah. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, I could take a kid right now who's 16, 17 years old, never left Brooklyn. I promise you, you give me one summer with him here in Florida, I'll blow his fucking mind.
I don't doubt
Well,
it.
it's something you
It's just that simple. It ain't like you got to take him to another country. You just
Yes.
got to get him out. You just got to get him out of that neighborhood.
Well, it's something you mentioned New York, because I never forget I overheard one of these game Negroes, and I guess he's from New York, he made the statement that there's no need for him to travel to other countries and cultures because all the cultures come to New York. And
Yeah.
I just had
Oh.
to I had to laugh when I heard that. I was like,
Yeah,
Hey,
complacency.
as
hey,
somebody,
Sigma. Hey, Sigma. I gotta
Complacency
stop
is
right
the
here.
enemy. If you truly
Yeah.
believe that, and don't get me wrong, yes, New York is a metropolis. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say right here, real quick. That right there is exactly why it's only about maybe 5 New York people I even like.
yeah, I
The
wasn't
rest
gonna
of them
say
niggas,
it.
the rest of them niggas can fuck off. I'm gonna be honest, man. I can't stand New York niggas for the most part. Now I make an exception for Lawrence, Bronzebird, Wacky. I think there's about 2 more that I make an exception for. But outside of that shit, damn. But go ahead.
No. It's like I said, complacency is the enemy because if you truly believe that New York, yes, it's a metropolis era and there's a lot of places that people flock to in New York, but if you truly believe that you know all about other cultures just by dealing with people within your city, I'm sorry. Like,
Well, see, and that's
uh,
and that's one of the biggest fallacies. Because again, as somebody coming, somebody born and raised in Brooklyn, that's the fallacy. Um, you think because you have so many different cultures and people from different countries coming to the 5 boroughs of New York that you're cultured. But what they fail to understand is that those cultures who come to New York are actually to some degree diminishing their own culture so they can fit into New York.
exactly.
Oh, damn,
And
some degree.
well, no, there are some who still hold on to a large
Okay, I
part
see
of
what
it,
you're saying.
but they still change some of it.
Yes,
Everybody changes
right.
because like the saying goes, when in Rome. Um, but but that's one of the biggest problems with New Yorkers. And it's not just New Yorkers. You can see it from the people from LA as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, but at least
in
they're more agreable. God damn.
true, that's true.
Sometimes.
That is true.
Golly, man.
In comparison to New York, they're definitely more agreeable.
Yes.
Because like I said, I lived out there for 4 years. So yeah, I get that. But the thing about okay, here's the thing about New York. You're not gonna find, and I'm not gonna speak for other countries. I'm just talking about the United States. You will never find a more arrogant bunch of people in this country than New York.
I agree.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and like I said, you can take it positive or negative, but it's still fact regardless. So,
Yes.
and like I said, it's a situation. Like I said, you got to get them. You got to get them out of that space. You got to get them out of that space. And I do agree with what checking for you. It also depends on who's the person taking them out of that space, of course. But as long as they've known nothing but New York, you're never gonna get them to understand it. There's very, 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 very few who get it before that, like myself. But again, I had a certain amount of influence that opened my eyes up differently, just just going from living with a black family to living with a Jewish family. So I mean, I had to reevaluate a lot of stuff from Jump Street.
Yeah.
And then from there, like I said, I went in the military, traveled, yada yada. But it's always going to come down to the same thing. You have to take them out of that environment in order for them to see that there's something different.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the first step. And I don't think it matters how old the person is, and I don't think it matters what gender they are. I think that's right out the gate one of the key things that has to be done. They have to be taken out of that space and put in another one. Because you force them to reevaluate, you force them to adapt, you force them to be circumspect of everything they learned up until that point.
Yeah, and I think it's oh my bad.
I'm sorry, and just one last thing, real quick, and that's the problem with the New Yorker aspect. Because see, you can live in New York, and you can meet all the Caribbean people you want to. It ain't the same as being over there in Trinidad, Tobago.
Right.
It ain't the same thing when you got boots on the ground in the Bahamas. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it goes across the board. And for every Puerto Rican I went to high school with, it ain't the same as when I went over to Puerto Rico. You feel it's a whole different damn world. So just knowing someone of a culture doesn't make you knowledgeable of the culture. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, to that point, when you're talking about internal change, it's something that for the most part, for most people, it's something that has to be forced for them to actually change. Because I mean, let's be real, people really don't change for the most part, unless it's something that's serious enough that forces them to have to change. Because you can introduce them to new things and different things, but what ends up happening is instead of them actually changing, you end up actually seeing the individual that they really are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, like I said many times before, people can argue it all they want to, but for me, my answer is never going to change. There has not been, nor will there ever be, a greater teacher in life other than pain.
Yeah, pain and fear are the two best. Yes,
I would add to that and say even if you go to a particular country, where you are in the particular country determines what the culture is too. Because like if you go geographically to a portion of the country, the culture changes because the people change.
Oh, absolutely.
And even on top of that, I would say 90% of people just straight don't change. It's like it's only for like 10% or 15% of people that change. We have this euphemism that as you get older, you change. No, that's not usually what happens. Usually what it is as you get older, you stay the same. It's just what I'm trying to say is just because you get older doesn't necessarily mean that you change. It just means that you're getting older. A lot of times we give people a pass saying, yeah, man, like we get older, we change. Well, no, you adapt a little bit, but I've seen people that adapt, but their personality doesn't change at all because they haven't put themselves through any kind of spot where they have to actually be humble.
Right. And that's what. Yeah, that's why we have the phrase, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks."
100%.
And I think Sigma would agree with me when I say this about the point you made about being in the country. What part of it you're in, it changes. Because like when we talk about Japan, I'm assuming Sigma, you've done Tokyo, right?
Yeah, my first trip was in the Tokyo area.
Okay, see, you've done Tokyo. I've done Okinawa. You know damn well there's big cultural differences, even though it's the same place. Even though it's the same damn place.
Or even just like with some of my friends, I have some that's in the Osaka, Kyoto area. There's a difference just between those three cities, Osaka, Kyoto, and Tokyo. Like not one country where everybody has the same mindset, so to speak. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and then and you could easily say the same thing here about the U.S. What they do in New York will not be what they do in Kansas.
Oh no.
and what they do in Kansas will not be what they do in Montana. It's just what it is.
Agreed.
So Yuri's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Just because you're in a different country doesn't mean you get the full experience of that entire country's culture. Because every country has a history of differing opinions and lifestyles and who defines culture what way. I mean, culture, religion, lifestyle, the list goes on and on. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree completely. Oh man. But man, hey fellas, this has been a great discussion. I didn't want to keep this going too long. I got some other stuff I got to do today. But
I'm just here to chop it up with y'all, and I saw MOT up here, so I wanted to give that brother.
Oh yeah, no problem, Yuri. Well, I guess while we're here, we're gonna give out these closing thoughts. Yuri, go ahead and start it off, bro.
Yeah, man. Like
of business, one thing I'm going to say, and this is something that I had to kind of sit back and think. Whatever business that you want to get into, and I was talking to a buddy of mine about this. He's in IT, and when he first got into IT, I told him, look, because him and me were talking. He was like in his 20s, and I was like, look, bro, what questions do you have? Like, not too many, just kind of wanted to sit down and talk to you. I said, yeah, all right, sure. And I said, look, the biggest thing that's going to get you from where you are to where you're going to be is the mentors. So when you get a job and you start understanding what the lay of the land is, because you're going to be in the room somewhere, you're going to have to deal with people that are above you and kind of figure that out. And, for you, that might mean that somebody who's, an Indian dude or some dude that's a white dude or whoever is above you, regardless of what race they are, might have to be the person that you get mentorship from. And they might not look like you, but the thing is, you're going to have to take game from them. And a lot of times I sit down and kind of start to think about where I came from and the people that I had to get game from. And a lot of times we talk about business, this, that, the other. But the thing is, the most important thing is to get the game to get started. Because when you get into a business, you start somewhere, and then sooner or later, once you put together enough information and put the puzzle together, then it turns into a black business, an Asian business, et cetera, et cetera. And the whole thing is, we've got so much game in this sector that any kind of business that you want to start, you can start it and you can get it for people that look like you. And that's something that's awesome, period. Because for me, I had to go and find the game wherever I could get it. Latinos were my mentors. Black folks were my mentors. Asian folks were my mentors, because I couldn't choose who I could get the game from. So everybody that's in here, any kind of game that you want, I'm telling you, you can get it here. And you can get it from who you want to get it from, which is awesome. Because sometimes in business, like, you go and talk to some people and they might not see eye to eye with you, and you might not be able to see eye to eye with them. But the thing is, you guys are on something where you're technically on the same team. And this is great because you can get anything you want from wherever you want, from whoever you want in this space. And I'm just trying to make a long story short, take advantage of it, period. Because you ain't never going to get something like this ever again.
Yeah, agreed, Yuri. Thanks for that. And next to the guy who made the best exit I've had on here, forced me to have to pull a Bruce and just end the stream afterwards. But Dr. McCoy Sigma Jones.
Yeah, out of respect for black girls, I won't say that again, at least for today. But no, just to kind of bring it back home to the title of your stream, Eisen, the taking the higher road. To me, there's a point of separation that has to be made. You can only forgive dysfunction for so long. Some people have a higher tolerance than others, but eventually that just gets old, and you either come to the point to where you are going to need to distance yourself from the dysfunction, or you just may need to get a fire torch and just start setting things on fire. So, as far as taking the higher road and everything, let them believe that talk, but the more productive brothers, the ones like us who have life outside of YouTube and especially have productive content that's more diverse and it's not a circle jerk type of content and everything, it just the point of separation has to be made. So with that, I gracefully bow out.
Yeah, and to your point, to those two things those two options you brought up, yes, I think both of them are good. I think to put the torch to it and then back away are both great.
Indeed.
uh, uh, l- Next up, last but not least, he really doesn't need an introduction, but we'll do it anyways. Lawrence Guy.
Look, man. Find out what your purpose is. Stay on your purpose, and in relation to the topic about not taking the high road, it's not your job to take the high road. It's your job to force them to take the high road and be better than what they are. And if they not, then you walk away from it. Other than that, hashtag men first.
All right, all right. Yeah, and as Sigma Jones has pointed out here, this channel, there is no political correctness here. I'm coming straight with hard shots. That's what I do. So there is no taking a high road for me. I'm coming for your throat. If I see if I see anything that is suspect, then I will let you know completely about it. I have no problems with doing so. Um, I mean, that's who I am, and I think for me to that be my nature, and then just to not do that, I'm being fake in doing so. I'm not being me and who I am. So that's what I'm going to do. That's how I'm going to continue to be. Um, but like I said, this is content that I wanted to bring here that was introspective that men could use to better themselves, to look inside themselves, to see what they needed to change and what they needed to do to help themselves moving forward. Um, because I mean, uh, knowledge without application is like a boat on dry land. It ain't worth a damn. So with that, I'll leave you
Real,
guys.
real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, not to cut you off. Just real quick, I just want to shout out, thank MOT for stopping by.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Shout out Empathy.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, MOT, for
Shout out.
stopping by. And I haven't looked, but he's probably shared it on his community tab too. So thanks for all that he usually does, and thanks to all my recent subscribers as well. For some reason I seen a big jump here within the past few days, so appreciate that. And hey, peace out, everybody.